Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Oh, my. What a show do we have for you today. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show. The tampering allegations, well, they're not allegations, the tampering that the Miami Dolphins did with Tom Brady front and center today. Not so much because it's about the Miami Dolphins. It's about Tom Brady. And it's not a good look. Not a good look at all. Nick Geddes from Outsider.com here with me this morning. How are you, sir? Did you enjoy that Rays game last night?
I did. Good morning. I did not enjoy that Rays game.
You're going to enjoy the Rays game today with this lineup they got put out?
Yeah. Oh, my. Just what I needed to see when the lineup dropped at 8:30 this morning, and I'm not excited for that at all.
They're actually using the Dolphins tanking playbook at this point.
Oh, are they now?
Yeah, I think they are.
I'm almost about to get on board with you here. I'm almost about to come to your side on that one.
Yes. Yeah. When you who's in the 3-hole today?
Mr. Siri, who's now being force-fed to hit in the 3-hole. Even though he's hitting under 200 this year.
Mm-hmm. Who's not in the lineup?
No Brandon Lau and no G-Man Choi because of the lefty.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that Roman Quinn and Yu Chang gave us a better chance. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that, especially when you're 3-8 out of the All-Star break. I mean,
as long as you hit from the right side, it could be me, but I'm a right-handed hitter.
Yeah.
Can't have a lefty up there.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Cannot do it.
Cannot do it.
But David Peralta can be in the lineup, though. He could be in the lineup.
Because we just acquired him. We got to show him.
We got to force feed him
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. That's what the analytics say.
Yeah. Renee Pinto. No, we didn't get a catcher. We get Renee Pinto.
Who needs a catcher?
No.
Who needs a catcher?
No.
It's not that important of a position. Come on. But we're we got Casey Hudson from Pewter Report's going to join us at 11:30, and John Gerber, PGA professional, who won us a little money last week with Tony Finau, will give us his golfing picks as he does each and every Wednesday. He's on a heater, so get your pencils ready and your popcorn and write this stuff down. But we're going to begin with Tom Brady. And I say Tom Brady because this is not about the Miami Dolphins tampering issues, at least not here in Tampa Bay, in my mind. This is about Tom Brady because it takes two to tamper. And Tom Brady's not going to face any discipline whatsoever. Players are not disciplined when it comes to tampering, which I don't know really why, but because it does take two to tamper. And the allegations, or I keep saying allegations, what's in this NFL report on the tampering is very eye-opening, but not so much to me and not so much to you folks who are loyal listeners of this program, because, I think we've nailed this from the very beginning about how this whole thing went down. I've never denied that the whole thing with the Miami Dolphins existed. Many people have. I have not, because I think that obviously that was definitely happening. But the timeline of this thing is really interesting. And not many people will say this because Tom Brady he's the Teflon Don of the NFL in a lot of different ways, especially here in Tampa Bay. But folks, this does not make Tom Brady look good at all, in my mind, at all. And I don't think it's any coincidence that Tom Brady talked and was very curt and short on, what was it, Tuesday? The day before this was going to come out, because trust me, he knew exactly when this report was going to come out. Anybody with any skin in the game, any NFL knew when this report was going to come out. And by the way, of course, they dumped it the day after the Deshaun Watson thing to get people to stop talking about that. This is all calculated. This is all very much part of the plan. And the NFL spanked the Dolphins, a first-round pick and a third-round pick, and the fine is inconsequential to a man that's worth, $80 billion or whatever Stephen Ross is worth. So that's inconsequential. But they hit the Dolphins hard. And they hit them hard because this was unabashed and egregious tampering that went on. Detailed discussions, not only with the agent, but with Tom Brady. And detailed discussions in December of 2021 when the Bucs were trying to get a better seating, doing everything they can, having to scratch hard to beat the Jets and come back and beat the Jets, dealing with the Antonio Brown thing. And the man that, of course, says, no distractions, no distractions. You guys pay attention to your playbook. Make sure you're not playing video games at night, was evidently on the phone quite extensively with Stephen Ross and the Miami Dolphins. That ain't cool. That's not cool. And I wonder, how did Brady's teammates look at him now? And look, everybody takes care of their own business, right? He's not the first player to be tampered with or talk to other teams while still under contract. He's not the first, but he's the freaking GOAT. He's the freaking GOAT. And Stephen Ross, and obviously one of the biggest Michigan boosters in history, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, there's obviously a connection there. And there are many connections with the Dolphins and TB12 and his business dealings. And while he may say, well, this was just my representatives talking, that's not what the NFL report says. It says that there were conversations with the player. And you know who was part of these conversations? At some point, Brian Flores. And the bottom line is, folks, Brian Flores, when he dropped that lawsuit, that was the signal to Brady and to everyone involved in Stephen Ross that this whole scheme that Stephen Ross had cooked up of bringing Brady and Sean Payton, who, by the way, also retired, to the Miami Dolphins was blown up. And Brian Flores was going to blow it up. And Brian Flores got fired because he wouldn't go on with the tampering. That man's going to get a big old check, and he deserves it. Because when he got fired, everybody was like, how do you fire this guy with what he's done with this team? And now we know, because Brian Flores didn't want to break rules and didn't want to go and scheme to get Tom Brady. He didn't want to be a part of it. And since he wouldn't go along with it, he was going to get fired. Man, how slimy does Stephen Ross look in all this? And by the way, Brady's a participant in it as well. So while, his teammates and himself are busting ass to get to the playoffs and win a world championship, I mean, there's so many layers to this. It's unbelievable. It's almost unbelievable. This has got to be a book, or at least a 30 for 30, how this whole thing went down. And here's a more interesting part. So the Dolphins were tampering with Brady back in 2019. So they were actively trying to get him before he was a free agent, they were tampering. And even after he became a free agent, obviously he was considering the Miami Dolphins. Why didn't he go there? That's a big question mark. Well, the bottom line is because he knew that team wasn't ready to win a world championship. And he also wasn't sure exactly what the coaching situation was going to be down there. But more than anything, the Dolphins didn't have the weapons. It didn't have the team around him that he thought could win a championship. And I think that's true. When he looked at Tampa Bay, it was a much better situation. That's why I've been telling you guys this forever, is that Tom Brady is here for Tom Brady. He's not here to be part of the Tampa Bay community. He's not here to be part of, and that's fine. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. It is what it is. He's a hired gun. And essentially every NFL football player is a hired gun. So, but the bottom line is with the way he handles his business and asking all the teammates to take less money, not to take less money, but to sacrifice to make the team better. And he's out there actively, while he's under contract, working to go to a different team. That's not a good look.
And it's what I told you. If it were any other quarterback, what would we be saying?
We'd be taking him to task.
Yeah.
Like, you sold out your team.
And Tom Brady is like Teflon. I mean, you just can't, it's like, you can't criticize him. You can't put him under a microscope and scrutinize him for these things. And listen, I find myself in a hard way of doing that, because like I've said many times in here, I'm very appreciative that he came to this city, came to this team,
gave us a Super Bowl,
and that's that. But there is an element to it, and we've talked about it. This guy does not bleed red and pewter. We get that. But
right.
That's just stuff that we would say. We have evidence now that is just completely not true, that he just doesn't feel like a buck at all. He's like just a guy that just happens to be on this team. He doesn't feel like a buck anymore.
It's a hired gun.
Like, I is it possible that he's becoming like the villain in some scenario?
Yeah.
Because like, that's how I'm almost feeling towards it. And I'm having like this tug of war right now within, because again, I'm so appreciative, but I'm trying to keep it real. I don't like the way this looks for Tom Brady.
No,
I don't.
No.
And it's like, what was this in December? So around December, you know what else happened? Antonio Brown happened.
Yep.
So we took him to task for doing it on the field. And
remember when the questions were very pointed about when Antonio Brown was making accusations about Bruce Arians and lying about Bruce Arians.
Yes.
Tom Brady knew the truth, and he was asked about it. He did not support his coach.
Yeah, and my point with that is not to get in the whole Antonio Brown discussion, but he was doing that in the month of December.
That's right.
The same month that Tom Brady was having discussions with Stephen Ross about having an ownership with the Dolphins, and you can tell me that they weren't discussing playing quarterback. I don't buy that for one second iota. In fact, I had the verbiage right here pulled up. It said those discussions focused on Brady becoming a limited partner in the Dolphins and possibly serving as a football executive, although at times they also included the possibility of his playing for the Dolphins. That sentence, to me, I don't understand why Brady wouldn't get any disciplinary action like the Dolphins did then, because that's what they said. That's the reason why, is because there was no discussions of him talking about playing, but there it is in the report that sometimes it included them talking about him playing for the Dolphins.
Right.
So something to me is not adding up there in this story. To me, there's still more layers to this.
Well, and think about this, Brady's retirement. Remember when he retired, what did we say? He's not retired. He's not retired. I didn't believe it for 1 second. And that was a scheme. As I've laid out many, many times here, we're not new to this, folks. This is not new here on the JP Peterson Show. In fact, I've written articles about the timeline as well. For 2 months ago, and you can go look it up. That was a scheme. It was a scheme from the very beginning. I'm going to retire. And I said, he's not going out like this. There's no way. You don't go out as an MVP. No way. I didn't believe it for 1 second. And you know why? Because this was a scheme. And then we get the news, and like I heard at the Super Bowl, he and Bruce Arians aren't getting along. Bruce Arians is making changes to the. Was this Tom Brady and his team putting that out there to make Bruce Arians the villain? Yes,
I'm here for the full.
Yes,
I'm here for full conspiracy.
In my opinion, yes, because that simply wasn't true. I mean, were there some disagreements on things? Of course, that happens in every coach-player situation. Every coach-player situation. But to start floating that out at the Super Bowl when the media is going to start talking about it, and when it's coming from Brady's camp, the reporters and the ones that I talk to, they're getting it from good sources. So you got to believe it. You got to talk about it. We talked about it with Solomon Wilcots. So was that Brady putting that out there so that was kind of a way for people to know, this is why I retired? It just that gives me. I got to get the heebie-jeebies on that as well. And so then you move that forward, this retirement, and then what did Bruce Arians say? And we talked about this the Bucs played this perfectly. They played it perfectly. You know why they played it perfectly? They knew he wasn't retired. You know why they didn't know he wasn't retired? Because Brian Flores was probably talking to them about this whole scheme. Or the Bucs knew that the NFL was investigating this whole tampering thing. So the Bucs knew that he wasn't retired. They knew it was a scheme because they knew the tampering thing was going on. And Brian Flores doesn't file that lawsuit, but Brady's probably a Dolphin. So thank you, Brian Flores. And then we get into the Bill Belichick part. Explain that.
This is my favorite theory of all right now. So in the investigation, it says that Tom Brady had discussions with Stephen Ross in August of 2019 and in 2020 when Brian Flores was the head coach of the Dolphins. Why is that notable?
Because don't forget, Flores coached with Belichick.
Right. But why is this all notable? Because if you recall, what started this was Bill Belichick accidentally twiddling with his thumbs, kind of like you're bad with your thumbs on the phone. Apparently, Bill has the same problem with his thumbs.
All us old white guys do.
Or his eyes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does Bill wear contacts, glasses? I don't know. His eyes look fine to me.
Oh, he saw perfectly who he was texting.
He could not read Brian Flores, and he could not read Brian Daboll's name. He thought he was texting Brian Daboll. Yeah. He was texting Brian Flores.
Yeah, because Daboll and Flores look very similar.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. And that resulted in Brian Flores going to that head coaching interview, whatever you want to call it, with the Giants, where he said they didn't take him serious and they didn't act like he had a chance and that they already hired somebody. And 2 days later, it was Brian Daboll's job. And Bill was guaranteeing to Brian Flores, who he thought was Daboll, the job's yours. So that's why that's notable. And now Brian Flores takes that information to this whole thing with the NFL. the sanctions come on the Dolphins. The Dolphins lose their 2023 first-round pick. So Bill Belichick is the one who kickstarted this, and it resulted in his division rival, losing a first-round pick next year.
And if you don't think Belichick knew that Stephen Ross was tampering with his quarterback while he was under contract, you're crazy.
Yes. And Bill Belichick, this whole accidental is BS, but people are going to buy it because it's Bill Belichick and he's Teflon, and we want to act like everything he says is true.
Right.
Bill Belichick did not actually accidentally send that text. He did it on purpose with and probably was talking to Brian Flores about it, with the intention of this turning into an investigation and getting it out there. And here we are today.
And so Belichick knows that Brady's leaving and doesn't want him to go to the Dolphins. So, and the reason, and you can go through the timeline and say one of the reasons that Brady didn't go to the Dolphins is because he knew this tampering thing was out there. And he also knew that Flores drops the lawsuit. So he knows that organization is in disarray. I don't want to go there. I'm going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. And before anybody gets crazy.
How about that?
And before anybody gets crazy, I have no sourcing on this. Okay. I'm simply putting together a timeline.
Right.
If is there any holes in my timeline?
No.
I mean, I just thought of this morning for about a couple hours and I pieced it together and it seems like it works to me.
Yeah.
And God, if I want it just for the sake of drama, I want it to be true so bad. But it doesn't. But again, the end of the story is, and the summary of this, Tom Brady's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Yeah.
And as you said, they played it perfectly. And the Bucs obviously are content with being uncomfortable with all this stuff going on. That's fine. And we stand today, they have the best team in the league, in my opinion, entering the year. And that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bucs played this right.
Yeah. And on that topic, and I hate to bop around too much, but remember how pissed off Brady was after Deflategate? You want to talk about a chip on the shoulder?
Yes.
Hopefully he takes that same energy here and turns it into winning with the Buccaneers, because that was savage what happened after Deflategate. That guy, I mean, he'll use anything. He'll use a butterfly, flying around as motivation and cook up something. This is real. This is not going to make him look good. He's going to get more criticism, and that drives him. So that's good for the Buccaneers. And again, we're clear-eyed here. We are, and I'm not. Brady is a mercenary. He's a hired gun, as are most free agents and football players. I don't say that with a negative connotation. I just say it, be clear-eyed about this whole thing. This is a business. But his number one priority is winning, and always has been. So that's fine. However he got here, I don't give a rip. However, he's playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. We are absolutely loaded, but you cannot excuse. I think it's funny. I really do. I think it just exposes how the sausage is made in big time athletics and sports and professional sport. These are a bunch of rich guys with egos. They don't give a rat's ass about the rules. It's cutthroat. They'll do whatever they can to win. And I'm here for it. It's great drama.
That's true. I think, again, my main takeaway from that whole timeline I just gave you, and I truly think this is just more of the Brady Belichick soap opera movie that is continuing. I truly believe this. Bill Belichick got word that Tom Brady wanted to play for the Dolphins, his arch rival, and he said, hell no. He said, hell no, that ain't happening. And that's kind of why Bill maybe forced him out a little bit, right?
Yep.
And you hear the way they still talk about each other.
Well, he was leaving anyway.
Well, he was probably going to leave, but Bill probably made it known, I don't want you here anymore. I want you to get out.
Well, he did that when he went to Bob Kraft and said, I want Garoppolo over Brady.
There you go. And listen to the way the way they talk about each other in the media is still odd to me.
Dude, listen, he wanted Garoppolo. And Brady had to go to the owner to keep his job. So, I mean, at that point, when your guy stabs you in the back like that, I mean, it is what it is.
I just think that this was all I just think like the Brian Flores things that everybody was talking about. And I feel like that was such a minute detail to what was really going on in this story.
Yes,
he was at this
pawn.
point, and if somebody can prove it, please prove it. I truly believe this was Bill Belichick's. I want to believe this is like a Bill Belichick doing, and he started this, and he's just been chilling this entire time.
Yeah,
I truly do.
He's like the chess master. He's like he's sitting back there just playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. And he certainly kept Brady from going to the Dolphins.
Yeah, but now,
of course, in the end, though, he loses because Brady won a Super Bowl without him.
Exactly. I was like, did Bill Belichick really win this one?
No.
He looks like a genius at the moment.
But a petty genius.
It's super petty
genius.
if it's true.
Yeah. None of this is honorable. None of it.
It's just crazy the things that happen behind the scenes in pro sports. It is crazy. Like, I mean, have you ever could you ever imagine something like this happening like back in the day and it getting out? Like, I feel like now it's like, I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Well, and think about this, and this is not necessarily Brady related though, but Brian Flores, I mean, he's got to be reading that report and laughing. They literally said in the NFL report that Stephen Ross said, I'll give you $100,000 to tank games, essentially. That was a finding that he did say it, but the NFL was like, yeah, he was joking. What? Well, look at the actions. You traded Minkah Fitzpatrick. You traded away most of your good players, right? And I know he had asked for a trade, but why? And you have a coach that was making chicken salad out of chicken shiz, and you fire him? You fire that guy because he won't participate in your tampering scheme because he refused to meet on the yacht with Brady? And by the way, Brady's going all in with this. And who's the only honorable man in this whole scenario is Brian Flores, and he gets fired.
Yep.
And now he's a defensive backs coach in Pittsburgh. What the F? And they literally said this. They said, yeah, Stephen Ross said this and did everything. Basically, his actions showed that draft position, and even said that the draft position was more important than winning games, but they didn't tank. What?
Yeah. And
you're telling me 2 + 2 = 5? So here's the evidence that clearly shows he's tanking, but our finding is in the end, he wasn't tanking. It's just like Sue L. Robinson's report on Deshaun Watson. Yes, it was egregious behavior. It was predatory behavior, but it wasn't violent sexual assault. What?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
What?
And I echo what Richie P said here. He said Dolphins got hit hard, but Ross got a slap on the wrist. I 100% agree with that. The punishment. What is 2 months of a suspension for Stephen Ross do? $100,000.
What does a year suspension do?
None of it
They're
does anything.
still running the club.
They're still
they
running
can't
the
come to
team.
the office.
That's what my point is.
Dan Snyder's wife is running the team.
How much stuff do you need to understand that somebody's a scumbag? Get him out of the game.
Who runs the league?
The owners.
Not Roger Goodell.
I mean, can somebody?
Roger Goodell works
I don't
for the
know how
owners.
the process works. Can we take this to a committee? Can we get? I mean, I understand maybe none of the owners are going to go against the owner, but this guy should not be owning a professional football team. I think we have plenty of evidence on that.
Well, they're not going to take it away from him.
He looks slimy for crying out loud. And I hate to do that whole game, but he just looks like a bad guy.
It's racist what they did to Brian Flores. Yep. Absolutely 100%. It's completely unfair what they did to him. He's the one. He's the one that's been punished more than anybody.
And it's like, why do you have to go through this? If you have to go through this many leaps,
and by the way, that $1.5 million fine, which is nothing to Stephen Ross, just endorse the check to Brian Flores. Just send it over to him.
And in my opinion, if you have to go through all these leaps and bounds and through all these loops and all these illegal things here within the context of the league to get the head coach and the quarterback you want, I think that's on you as an organization. If you can't lure these guys over here the right way, that's on you. That's on you.
Yeah.
And that's on Stephen Ross for not building a culture that attracts players. You have to go through all this stuff to do it.
Well, who the hell wants to play for the Dolphins now? Especially if I was a black player,
I mean,
screw you.
I mean,
I'm sorry, Tyreek Hill, you got tons of money. That's great.
Teron
good for
Armstead,
you.
I mean, the Dolphins look good on paper. I'll give them that right now.
Yeah, but if I'm a black player on that team, and I'm looking at my
I don't want to play for that guy.
I don't want to play for that guy. I want to win anything for that guy. And by the way, Tom Brady, if this is your boy, you guys are good friends and you want to go work with him and be part owner, maybe birds of a feather.
It's just not a good look for Tom Brady.
It's not a good look.
It really is.
It's a terrible look. And I'm not here to bash Brady, but let's be honest. That's what we're not corporate media here, folks. I've been covering this league for a long time, and I know a lot of honorable men that have played in this league. And this is not a good look.
Yeah.
It's not a good look for Tom Brady. And not only is it not a good look, why did he do it? That ain't cool. You're asking all of your teammates to limit distractions and do all this stuff. Meanwhile, you're on the phone trying to go to another team, selling them out.
Well,
what is that all about?
Because Tom Brady is at the
Am
end
I
of the
reading
day,
that wrong?
Well, Tom Brady at the end of the day, and there are certain athletes who are at his level. There's not many right now. He is a businessman, and Tom Brady is about Tom Brady's interest. And if somebody comes to him with a proposal and it's like, hey, I want you to have whatever it is, 50-50 ownership stake in the Miami Dolphins, Tom Brady's going to listen. I'm not debating that he shouldn't listen to it. But to me, in the season and the way things were going last year, around that time in the season, the context matters here. I don't see why you shouldn't be going on the phone and having those conversations, going to dinner, whatever you were doing. You should probably say, listen, I'd love to chat later, not in the season or down the line, but right now I got business to take care of.
Exactly.
Because that's the image that Tom Brady sells to the fans.
And that's the way the rules are written, by the way.
That's the way the rules are written, and that's the way Tom Brady has always sold himself to the masses. So if I'm supposed to believe that's what Tom Brady's about, then Tom Brady would have hung up the phone and said, I have a season to play.
And I'm going to go full on right here because this is, I've covered this league for a long time. And one of the things I learned from Rondé Barber was he told me once they played up in Foxborough against the Patriots, and it said Charlie Weiss came up after the game and told him, he goes, damn, we had all your defensive signals, had them all. We knew them all. We knew exactly what you were running defensively, and we still couldn't beat you. How'd they get that? And Spygate, Deflategate, but you're still skirting the rules. You're still skirting the rules. Deflategate, there's always been a feeling in the NFL that the Patriots, your headset would always go out at the key times when you're playing up there in Foxborough. And I asked the communications person that works with the NFL telecommunications on the sideline, and I asked him, I said, if you wanted to tamper with another team's headphones and listen in when they were in your stadium, could you do it? He said, absolutely. No question about it. If you really wanted to, no problem. You could do it. He goes, so it's basically on a gentleman's agreement that you don't do that. He goes, yeah, it's obviously against the rules too, if you were ever found out. My point being, the only thing keeping teams from doing that is their honor. And clearly the Patriots had none. I'm sorry. And did Tom Brady, all these Spygate when they're filming other teams practices at the Super Bowl, did Tom Brady benefit from that? Did they know what Russell Wilson was running on the goal line that day? Because Malcolm Butler certainly knew what was coming. I mean, you can go back and look at all his entire career and say, and now look at this situation where he was clearly and knowingly breaking the rules. Clearly and knowingly breaking the rules.
It's just always something.
It's always
something.
It's always something. And listen, the dude is the greatest quarterback in the history of the game. They won 7 Super Bowls. They won one here in Tampa Bay. Am I going to say those are all ill-gotten? No, absolutely not. Is it a stain on his legacy? Yes, it is.
And you asked about, what does his teammates think about this and what do the players think? I still think, it's almost, to me, I split Tom Brady in two. I really do in this situation. I split him in two. It's like he's living his life as a football player, and when he's on the field, in the locker room with the guys, he's one of the boys and he's a buck. And then out and about, it's like a separate Tom Brady. He's no longer that guy anymore. And when he's doing all this other stuff, he's just a different guy. I still think when he's in the locker room, he's on the field. I don't think the players, I think all they really care about is he's there.
Yeah.
And they're still appreciative that he's here.
And he's
on
really
that
good.
team, and he's really good. And he gives everybody a chance to get a Super Bowl, to get paid, to go elsewhere and get paid. I think that's what they care about. Honestly, so I don't think the players honestly give a rip about it on this team. I really don't.
You may be right. I mean, you may be right.
Because I don't know if I don't know if I'm doing a great job of explaining it, but I think there's 2 Tom Bradys here that are split, and I feel like the one on the field, it's like a different guy. I really do.
But I'll say this about Brady. Brady's obviously he's a needle mover, and if he's on your team, it's a big difference than him not being on your team. Okay. So if I'm a Buccaneer and I'm making some sacrifices to stay here longer. And you know what? Brady may have been very honest with these guys, Carlton Davis and Ryan Jensen. May have been very honest with them and said, look, I may be looking to go play elsewhere. So if you take care of your business, do whatever you got to do. But I might be he may have been very honest with them, or he may not have been. I don't know. We don't know that question. But if you're just 3 or 4 guys sitting in the locker room and you're reading this stuff and you find out that your quarterback was actively talking to another team while you guys were making a playoff run last year, I mean, maybe all players do that. Maybe all players do that. They're taking care, because there is a feeling in the NFL and in all major professional sports, you don't mess with a guy's business. However he does his business, you don't talk about his contract, what he's trying to do next year. They all know it's in essence, it's every man for himself when it comes to the business part of this.
Yeah.
But and Brady has always taken less money to stay. He's taken less money to stay here. So he's not asking these players to do anything that he hasn't done, right?
Yeah.
So from a competitive standpoint, the dude is all in. There's nothing more you could ask from him. He does everything you need. So from a player standpoint, yeah, maybe it just doesn't matter to them. He's here. He wants to win. He's all in. And let's be honest, if you're in the middle of a playoff run and you're taking a few calls at night, is it really going to affect your preparation, especially this guy's preparation? No, it's not. I'm not here to sit here to say the guy was completely distracted, because he wasn't.
The guy's clearly,
but it's a bad look.
It's a bad look.
It's a bad look.
But he's a buck, and he's clearly all in. I mean, you talk about. I'll give you good evidence that he's all in. I mean, look at the guys they brought in, the veterans, who probably would have never given this franchise a look.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's be real. I mean, Julio Jones as a buck.
Yeah.
Come on. Pipe dream.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Jason,
he's here because of Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's here because of Tom Brady.
Right.
That's why when you see practice, who's Julio Jones talking to and sitting next to? Tom Brady.
Right.
Okay. Leonard Fournette, why is he here? Tom
Brady.
Brady. Why did Ryan Jensen say?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Why was he mad that Ryan Jensen got hurt? Because he brought him back here.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Akeem Hicks, why is he here?
So yeah,
I keep going on and on and on.
We've said this since the very beginning, clear-eyed about this. The retirement was a scheme. I never bought it, not for a moment. And this goes back to one thing, and I was talking with some of the press guys about this, that we have said from, I guess, since we got back from the Super Bowl and put this whole timeline together. One thing, the Bucs played it perfectly.
Yep.
They played it perfectly because they knew he wasn't retired. They knew what was going on in the background, and they're like, we're going to call your bluff. Hey, Stephen Ross, you want him? Give me 5 number ones. You got 2 number ones next year. We'll start with those, and then 2 more, and then 1 more after that. So yeah, if you want Brady, come get him. They knew, and that was the sign to Brady, like, we're not letting you go. We know what you're doing. We know what this retirement scheme is all about. And so when they played it, and he played it all the way out to the weekend before free agency. And that's when he realized, okay, I know I want to play 1 more year. I got to put the band back together. Hey, Jensen. Hey, Carlton Davis. Hey, right down the line. Let's put the band back together. They called my bluff. So kudos. And then Aaron's is like, all right, you want me to step back? I'll step back. Here you go, Todd Bowles. Here's your guy. So is there a little, I think it's almost like Brady and Arians might just wink at each other and go, "Oh, you got me. You know what I mean?" So, but I'm here.
Yeah.
So,
it just comes off as listen, Brady's run. He's pulling every string right now. He's pulled every string on this roster. He pulled every string on who was going to be this head coach. The whole 9 yards. This was Brady's doing. That's to me, that's what it's coming off like.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when this was happening, I know that I at least was like, when Bruce Arians stepped aside and gave the reason, I went and said, yeah, of course that's the reason, because Bruce Arians has a track record with this. He's been with Todd Bowles for 40 years. I'm not saying that's not true. But again, and I'm just talking here. I'm just talking out loud. These are just the things in my head. It could have been possible that that's a reason that could be floated out there. And because Bruce Arians has that track record, people would actually buy it.
Yeah.
And it may not be true at all. Brady probably said, if I'm coming back here, if you're really going to make me play here and you won't let me go on my way, well, then I'm getting everything I want. And I mean everything I want. How bad do you want me? And if you're Jason, like, what are you going to do?
You're going to say yes. What do you want? which is one of the reasons I'm surprised they haven't signed
Fascinating.
JC Treader.
This is
It's
fascinating. I know we just did 35 minutes of conspiracies.
It's not conspiracy theory though.
But I
everybody
truly,
calls conspiracy theories things that when people connect the dots,
because we don't have the facts for it yet.
Right.
But I think we just put together a timeline and some reasonings and evidence behind this that fit, in my opinion.
But I love the whole, the different personalities involved here, because Brady wanted to stick it to Belichick, and he wanted to go to Miami and play for the Dolphins because he could play them twice a year and own the AFC East and just take all that away from Belichick. And then when Flores does the lawsuit, and listen, I broke the story that Tom Brady is coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I was definitely being told that he was zeroing in on Tampa Bay, and it made sense too when you started looking at all the rosters. And then their Miami Dolphins were mentioned. I looked at their roster and their situation, and then the whole Brian Flores thing, and then now know that the tampering thing was, listen, they were tampering in 2019, okay? And when there are people that know, I guarantee you Belichick knew it, and I guarantee you people in the Bucs organization knew it too, because people in the NFL talk. They talk a lot. So I think it's extremely interesting how the whole thing went down. And I can't wait for the 30 for 30. It's going to be, and
I think Brady has already fulfilled his obligations with any type of documentary going forward. I think that 10-part one we got, that's the best you're getting out of him, I think.
Yeah, well, of course, but this goes back to our discussion of how he controls all his media.
There's a documentary on
and that's
anything,
why he did his press conference on Tuesday, knowing full well that this was coming out later on.
And you're not getting him till September 11th. Was that on a Sunday?
You're not getting him until
Wednesday. What is that? September 7th, September 6th?
Yeah, his next obligation by contract. I don't think they're obligated. Are they obligated for preseason games?
I don't know. But
they might be. I'm not sure, but you have to meet with the media once during the week in preparation, and then after the game.
Regardless, I mean, nobody's asking. I mean, I'm sure somebody will ask the question, but you're not going to get. He might just storm right out.
Well, he's answered the question.
I know, but
he answered the question 2 months ago when he said, "Listen, I've had discussions with a lot of people." Now he did not admit to tampering. Admit to that, but he said, yes, I've had a lot of discussions. So that was an admission that he had talked to the Dolphins. We all said that at the time.
Yeah.
But he said, basically said, look, I'm here now, and that's all that matters, and we're moving forward. And that he's absolutely 100% correct. That is all that matters.
I guess I want to know
but
the answer.
For the legacy talk and all that, this is just another mark where Brady he's a rule breaker.
But here's what I want to know.
He's a habitual line stepper.
Here's what I want to know, though. And I don't know if anybody has an answer to this question. Is this place, being Tampa Bay and the Bucs, the franchise organization, is it that bad? Or is this just the thing of Tom Brady just really wanted to play in Miami and the Bucs are just being like, this isn't like a thing on, this isn't necessarily shade on the Bucs.
No,
he just really wants to be. That's what I wanted to know. I'm like, is this place really that bad that you're unhappy here? I want it because I feel like there'd be more stuff out there about stuff going on around here with the ownership, the GM, inside the locker. Like, to me, it doesn't come off like that. It just kind of comes off as I really just wanted to be in Miami.
Well, he's got a lot of connections down there in Miami. The partner, I'm sorry, Bean, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He's on the TB12 board with Alex Guerrero, so they're tight. And I think once he won the Super Bowl, it wasn't anything against Tampa Bay. Again, he was never emotionally attached to Tampa Bay. I mean, to his teammates, to his coaches, yes, of course. That's why they went out and won it. But, the organization, whatever. It was an ends to a means to an end for him. Yeah. And he's so close to these other guys. They're all part of his inner circle moving forward. They're in Miami where he's going to live, right? He's building out. He never planned to live here in Tampa Bay, which is fine. So yeah, I think he won the Super Bowl and was like, all right, now let's make the move. Where Brady really effed up is in his contract and not allowing himself to be a free agent after 2020.
Yeah.
After he won the Super Bowl, that's where he screwed up, and he was contractually obligated to the Buccaneers who weren't, or maybe he thought that they would just let him out. But you know what? It's bad business, as Bruce Arians said. It's bad. And maybe that's why he was mad at Arians because he went, no, I'm not. Maybe it was Arians that said, no, it's bad business. We're not letting you out of it. And that was his way of saying, okay, I'll come back, but I'm not playing with him. I don't know. But that doesn't put Bruce in the wrong at all whatsoever.
Joe, I've had a question here, a little off topic, not really, but he says if he wins another Super Bowl being Brady, does he go into the Bucs Ring of Honor?
Of course.
He's going in right now.
He's going in anyway.
He's already going in.
You know why? Because you want people to come to that stadium and see the name Tom Brady up there and remind them that he played for the Buccaneers and won a Super Bowl here. So absolutely, for marketing purposes, he's going into the Ring of Honor.
Regardless of what happens, if we're going to build a statue in front of Raymond James, I will volunteer Tom Brady. I don't care if it was for 3 years. I don't care what happened. If he thinks more comes happen, I'll build the guy a statue right now.
Sure.
I don't care.
Yeah.
End of story. Yes, he's going in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he's going in.
No offense to some of the names that are up there, but there's some people there that
and the one that's come down.
Yeah.
But watch your emails, Brady. You watch your emails. All right, so you guys want to chime in on any of that? At FanStreamJP is my Twitter. You can also go on YouTube or on Facebook, JP Peterson, and you can comment there, and we'll pop up your comments and chat about them. We got so much more to get to, but we got to get a break in. Thank our great sponsors, Taliano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, and so many others there. Here's a quick break, and we'll be back to talk some Rays as well. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source. If you're looking for one of those beautiful Rolex watches, a collectible, or maybe a pre-owned Rolex watch, the Golden Diamond Source has a great selection. A lot of people collecting Rolexes these days. A lot of them big ballers, not me, maybe Nick. But that's a great thing to do. They're great investments these days, and Lord knows stock market's down. Rolex watches are up. And also, if you have any old gold jewelry or diamonds that you're not wearing anymore, your wife's not wearing anymore, take them down to the Golden Diamond Source. Maybe get them to make something different because they'll design something different with those gems and get her something all new. That would be a great surprise. And you can turn in some of that gold jewelry, get cash for it. That's something else that they do there. So many things at the Golden Diamond Source that you can do. And just go shop, have a good time. Their service is unmatched. They're always fully staffed. Every time you go in there, there's tons of people there working, just waiting to help you. If you need your jewelry, watch, if you need watch repair or anything repaired on your jewelry, just bring it in. They'll do it right there on the spot for you. So it's a family-run business. Julie and Steve Weintraub, always great benefactors in the community. So we always say, keep it local here. None better than the locally owned Golden Diamond Source. 3800 Overton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Are we ready to get into these Rays?
Yeah, I think let's get through some of these comments though, and then we'll get into the Rays because we did get a lot of comments. Any of those really stand? I mean, Richie P's on fire here. Let's do this one. Does this speak to the relationship with BA? He did this all while he was under BA. In the end, it doesn't matter to me. Just win. We don't care. Good, bad. Just win. Absolutely. I don't know. Honestly, I know that BA and Brady are friends. They play golf together. I think it's, Bruce knew all this stuff was going on. Oh, yeah. I think they all did. So, I don't know. I really don't know. It's curious that BA is no longer the coach, but his reasons match up with what he has said all his life. He's consistent. Yeah. He's consistent about giving other coaches opportunities, a minority coaches opportunity. So everything that he said about that and what his timeline to me checks out as honorable. And I've known Bruce to be nothing but candid and honorable man. Yeah. I can't say the same about Brady.
And if Bruce, again, like we keep saying, if Bruce was so hated by Tom Brady and he was so despised, the Bruce Arians wouldn't still be in the organization. Exactly. He wouldn't be two offices down. He wouldn't be at practice with a play sheet in his hand still, right. Chatting it up with Tom Brady and whatnot. Bruce Arians would be out of the building.
Yeah, he would. I just think it's but I think is Brady a little salty because probably Arians played him that way, played it the right way? Knowing Brady when he doesn't get his way, yeah, probably a little bit. Maybe that was his nod to, if I'm coming back, I want, just like you said, I want everything.
Maybe he realized this wasn't Bob Kraft anymore.
Yeah, right. Richie P says, on top of it all, what I hate about this whole thing is that Florio gets to say, I told you so. Well,
he is.
Well, is he though? He said that Brady was going to Miami. Like he was that the deal was done.
Matter of fact, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't happen. You were wrong. That means you were essentially wrong.
But I think he was all over this kind of drama before everybody.
Yeah, he was. I always said, yeah, I think he's right on the fact that there's discussions.
But it made me wonder though. I'm just like, no offense to Mike Florio. He's like, I understand he's plugged in, but why is it nobody else could get a read on it that was also plugged in? I just never could understand that one.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's from Joe F. Bill looks like a genius and almost makes him look like a good guy. What a soap opera. I wouldn't say necessarily good guy because he was doing it for his self-interest, I mean, he wasn't doing Brian Flores a favor. He was trying to blow that whole thing up. Because imagine how Belichick was like, oh, you're going to try to come get my quarterback, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those, again, high-level guys, powerful guys that do not want to let another guy get over on you. Richie P says, Ross not being able to be part of the committee is hysterical. Dolphins fans are still waiting for the results of the Richie Incognito investigation that Ross put Shula on. Yeah, right? I mean, come on. All right, let's move on to your Rays. So yesterday I sat here bashing them for not doing anything and just playing the fans like they always do. Oh, we're in on this guy. We're in on Contreras. We're in on this guy. They weren't in this. I don't know when you guys are going to understand that the Rays are feeding Ken Rosenthal, and they're feeding them these stories, and they're not true. They're not truly going after them. Or, okay, maybe the price was too high, or they're just ridiculous. The Rays have always been, and you hear this around the league, they always ask too much for their players and offer too little for yours. And that's why they don't get deals done. And in some cases, when you get some idiot general manager like they had at the Pirates, and you get Glasnow, Baz, and Austin Meadows for a broken down Chris Archer, you look like a genius. When you didn't really do anything, it was the idiot at Pittsburgh that gave it to you on a silver platter. But the Rays get these great platitudes. Bottom line is they haven't won a World Series. They've had a ton of great young talent, and they've done it on the cheap. I get it. That's great, but you still haven't won a World Series, and you could have. And had they combined their acumen, their baseball acumen and analytics with spending to even close to the league average, they'd be an elite team like the Padres and the Braves. The Padres are spending boatloads of money. They're the 28th largest market in America. Why is it that the Padres can do it? You know why? Because they built a great stadium in a great area, and they make lots of revenue. People say, well, what are their revenues? What is their attendance? I said, well, that's the whole point. The Rays would have better attendance if your owner invested in a stadium where the fans are in Tampa, and they did it 4 years ago. They'd have a lot more money to spend on players, just like the Braves did. The Braves built a new stadium where their fans are, paid half for it, and now they're going out and giving Austin Riley $212 million. So we could be that team. The only reason we're not is because of the owner.
And this is why I'm so sick and tired. And I heard it yesterday. I was watching the Baseball Tonight trade deadline special, and they're all talking about the small market Rays and the small. I'm so over the.
We're the 11th largest market.
I'm so over the term small market. And I showed you that tweet yesterday, and it was in context to what the Padres did. The whole term small market is BS. If you have somebody who's invested and really wants to win and wants to go for it, you'll make it work. And this is why I'm so tired of hearing. I heard this yesterday. Oh, well, the price for Wilson Contreras was too high. The price for Urso is too high. Okay, I understand that. But here's the thing. What point are you going to pay a price for anybody?
Exactly.
I'm so tired of fans, and everybody goes and runs to Twitter to defend this team about, oh, you need to trust the Rays process. Look how it's worked out. I don't give a damn that they won 100 games and then won one playoff game.
18 of them against the Orioles.
I don't care.
No.
I don't know who else needs to hear that. I don't care if you win 100 games and then you win one playoff game. I don't care. Show me that you were actually trying to put a team together that's trying to win a World Series. You did that in 2020, and you got 2 games away, and then you tore down a lot of pillars from that team. Yes, you won 100 games in the regular season, but when you got to the playoffs, you didn't have the guys to do it. And in this year, I understand there's a lot of injuries in this team, and you may have evaluated everything and said, well, is it really worth giving up all these assets for this year? Okay, cool. But the flip side of that, like I said, is you are where you are in the standings. You are a playoff team. And in my opinion, if you are a playoff team, you owe it to the players on the team right now, who some of them may not be here next year, to at least make an effort. And I'm not saying the Rays didn't make an effort. I said it yesterday. David Peralta is a nice piece. The Jose Siri thing, I get what they see in him. That's great. And I even had said the day before those trades, if you bring in 2 to 3 guys instead of a star, then that would work too, because it's an improvement over Brett Phillips and Roman Quinn, etc. Right? I was consistent on that. But in regards to putting the Rays in a situation to actually contend this year, the Rays hardly moved the needle. They hardly moved the needle. And they were around everything yesterday, and they did nothing. They did nothing. And it's disappointing. Even last year when they brought in Jordan Luplow at the last second, right? That was something at least. And he had a nice moment in the playoffs. He was good for the Rays down the stretch.
Yeah, but
just anything. But even that guy's not going to move the needle much. Just pull something off.
They did, the Nelson Cruz thing was ambitious. And
they probably have gotten, like I said, PTSD from that, and they just don't want to do it again.
Yeah, it backfired on them. But you know why it backfired? Because they never go after the A-list guys. They always go after the B- or C-list guys.
You had to know, getting Nelson Cruz to at the time, that guy's 40 years old,
right.
41 years old.
Right.
He's going to have to play in the
That ain't
Trop,
getting
where
Juan
a
Soto.
lot of players don't hit well in the Trop.
Right.
It's just a matter of fact. And it just so happened that Nelson Cruz happened to be cooked right when he became a Ray.
Right.
Like he is now.
Yeah.
It's just the end. It just happens.
This is a tweet that went out from Kronko Tonko, who was CD Goldstein, the editor-in-chief of Baseball Prospectus, highly regarded publication. And he tweeted this: the Padres are doing this. They've acquired Soto, Machado, Hader, Darvish, extended Tatis. Don't buy the small market blues from other teams. Anyone with an owner interested in winning can do this. Spot MFing on. To which I retweeted and I said, truth, for all you Rays baseball fans who are satisfied playing in the kiddie pool, look at what the Padres and Braves are doing. San Diego is the 28th largest media market. Tampa Bay is 11th. Atlanta is 10th. It's your owner, not your market. Stadiums matter too. And this is what I've been saying. If we had an owner that took advantage of the size of this market, like Jeffrey Vinnick has done, like the Buccaneers have done, and you put the stadium in an accessible place and have a great stadium that people actually want to go to, not that slop that you have in St. Petersburg. If you do that and do it the right way, market your team, get the attendance up, put an entertainment district around it like the Braves did, like the Rangers are doing, and then you can start spending 160, 170, and then have an owner who's willing to put that money back into the team. Don't forget, Stu Sternberg just put $500 million cash into a whole new Rays baseball company, according to the lawsuit. So don't tell me he didn't have the money to sign these guys. He does. He has the money to go to the average payroll. And he's always said he'll always put the profits back into the team. That's a bold-faced lie. That's a bold-faced lie. And I don't know. And when are all you Rays fans going to start pointing the finger at your owner and stop pointing the finger at the fans? And, we don't show up, so he can't spend any money. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Here's another thing I'll point out to you, by the way, because everybody loves the Rays prospects. It's all I hear about is prospects. They have
brainwashed the fans.
We have to protect the prospects because we have to always be looking forward to the future. Let me tell you something. I have typed out the Rays lineup when fully healthy. Do you want to know how many guys in the Rays lineup when fully healthy started in the Rays system?
Not many.
As prospects? Guess how many? Two guys, Wander Franco and Brandon Lau. Everybody else on this team came over via a trade or a free agent acquisition. And you want to tell me about prospects? None of them make it up here and are worth a damn.
That's right.
Sorry, that's a brutal honesty truth for you. Is Taylor Walls good at hitting? Has he shown you anything? I know he had a good game last night. But truthfully, does Josh Lowe look good?
No. Well, he did the last 15 games.
And now he's in the minors.
They put him down.
And Roman Quinn and Yu Chang are in the lineup.
Yeah.
My point is, look at the lineup. You could talk to me about pitchers all you want. I'm talking about hitters because that's where the Rays are struggling right now. Tell me who in this lineup outside of Wander Franco and Brandon Lau, and just in general hitters who have started in the Rays system and come through the ranks and actually panned out.
No, they don't draft well.
So stop telling me.
But they trade well.
Exactly. So stop telling me that these prospects
that we have that are hitters
and we have to protect.
Good prospects do. Good prospects allow you to win on the cheap.
Yeah.
And that's always been the priority for Stu. They look at this arbitration system, and you were saying it the other day. It's like, who was it you were talking about?
The Rays can get away
Shane McClanahan.
with having Shane McClanahan until 2028 when he's 31 years old and not have given him a long-term extension.
Right.
They have him next year under team control and then 4 years of arbitration.
Yeah.
He could have,
which he'll get paid.
He'll get paid, but I'm just saying,
not market value.
If the Rays wanted to, they could do like the Yankees have and just draw this guy out until he's 30 and 31 and say, "All right, see ya."
Yeah, now you're spent. Yeah, and that's what they do. That's what they do. No, they trade them. They trade them. They trade them when they get to about 30 years old or 29 years old. They trade them when their trade value is at the highest instead of trying to see them out to see how well they can play. They trade them. And look, it's hard to build a fan base when you're, and I'm not going to sit here and stump for Brett Phillips, who now is a member of the Baltimore Orioles. Makes me sick to my stomach. But to hang on to the guy to the day he has his jersey thing, sell some tickets, make some money off, and then and then sell him off for cash.
Oh, and take the
They sold him. They
for cash.
I mean, I know he's not the greatest player in the world, but let me look into your eyes, Braves fans, and just chew on this for a second. Your favorite player? Did we trade him to get another player? No anything like that? No. We DFA'd him and then we sold him for cash. Stu Sternberg sold your best player for cash that went into his pocket. And then, you know what he did? He took down the pictures of Brett Phillips in the Trop. He took them down. Kyle Berger tweeted that out. He took down the memories of Brett Phillips, your memories. He sold your memories for cash. How you feel about that? Just put it in his pocket. Sorry, had to do that.
It's getting clipped for later.
But isn't that just an insult? Like, throw me a single A ball boy. I don't care. So give me any prospect if you're going to trade him. But no, just give me some cash. How much cash was it? I want to know how much cash Stu got for selling off your favorite player. How much cash was it?
$200K and
What's he going to do with that cash?
soda inventory.
Maybe he'll make a playoff banner and thank Montreal. Is that going to go up where the Brett Phillips pictures were? Hey, we didn't get to use this sign, so let's put it up. Let's put it up here.
Oh man. I'm just
Sorry.
Again, and
I
then,
digress.
and then I guess I'll go back to last night if you want me to, but
Yeah.
just
Let's do that.
2 hits. Taylor Walls hit both hits. End of story. That's all you got. That's all you got.
But what about Jose Siri? You made a sliding catch. came up, pounding his chest, Kiermaier style.
My only problem with Jose Sirius right now is the fact that he's hitting in the 3-hole today.
I know.
And that he was in AAA when we acquired him, and now we're just like, all right, now you're our 3-hole hitter.
Yeah.
Like it's actually
Because you're right-handed.
Yeah, that's just the one thing
Yeah.
I can't make sense of, but you know.
And he couldn't get that last one. He couldn't get that. And I had to tweet it out.
I know.
I had to tweet it out. Brett Phillips gets that ball.
I actually didn't know if you were actually like joking or you were dead serious.
No, it was tongue in cheek.
And
of course, I know. Oh, shut the hell up. Like, it's tongue in cheek.
You don't know
guys.
what you're talking about.
Relax, pumpkin. No, it's just, it's just like it's just a dig.
It was just fitting.
It's a
It
dig.
was all it was.
Right.
It happens.
Yeah. So, absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah, it was fun. But look, the bottom line is, in the bigger picture, this is a team and an ownership group, or shouldn't you say group, and an owner that has never been serious about winning the World Series. He's only been serious about making money and has now held up development at the Tropicana Field site and in Tampa for the last 4 years. That has cost both cities untold millions of dollars because now everything is much more expensive. And here's another little tidbit that I got from a source. Everybody's been asking me if there was that meeting last week with the TSA. There was a meeting with the TSA last week, and the quote I got was, "It was hot." It was hot. Now I'm going to find out what exactly that meant, but they had a meeting last week, and I'm guessing hot does not mean hot as in it went well, like things are hot, like she's hot. I'm guessing that it got ugly, and that's interesting. That's really interesting. So we got to find out what that's all about, folks. This is, I've been saying this for a long time, and it takes no joy. I love the organization. I love the players. I love our baseball team. I love Matt Silverman and Brian Auld, even though they may not think so. I love those guys. They've been advocates for Tampa Bay for a long time, and I told you this whole Montreal thing that they were sent out to talk about. In their heart of hearts, they're way more loyal to Tampa Bay than their owner is. Those were marching orders, in my opinion. Those are good guys. And everybody in this nobody in the organization likes the owner, or very few of them. No, people that work there, it's like a joke. Everybody makes fun of Stu. He's the issue, and I can't believe Major League Baseball continues to let this guy do this. And coming up September 16th, I believe, is the next hearing for the lawsuit. And for God's sakes, Rob Manfred, will you remove this guy? And it's not personal, honestly, for me. I just want this baseball team to thrive. I want our baseball team to thrive, and I want a new park that fans can enjoy, not that shit box over there. I'm sorry. It's awful. We deserve that. We're the 11th largest market. We're willing to pay half and get the deal done in a public-private partnership that benefits everybody. It's so easily done. And yet we still can't get it done because of one guy. And that's just not right. It's not right. And when it comes down to all these moves that you're promised and everything, it's impossible for Chaim Bloom or Eric Neander or Andrew Friedman to do anything when you're constantly handcuffed by the overarching philosophy of we're not spending money, we're doing everything on the cheap. We got to get over on everybody. It's hard to do. But go enjoy the game today. That'd be nice. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get back to some of the Bucs sound. We got some real good stuff from Leonard Fournette yesterday, Skinny Lenny. So we're going to play some of that. We may have some live video as well. We've got Casey Hudson from Pewter Report coming up at 11:30. Our golf guru, betting guy, John Gerber, 11:15. Make you some money. He won some money last week, so stay with us. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at palermopa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we roll on here, Nick is off to cover the baseball game. And we're going to get some more Bucks talk in here as we roll on. John Gerber, PGA Professional, is going to join us at 11:15 to do some golf betting. So we'll get into that. And at 11:30, Casey Hudson's going to join us from Pewter Report, and we'll chat with her about what went on today at Bucks camp. Just a few other notes on the TSA meeting that I got a little bit of information on. Yes, it was a hot meeting. I was told. I don't exactly, I'm not going to sit here and say that we know exactly what went on. We don't. But honestly, this is going to be a process moving forward. What it tells me is that the Rays and the TSA are at odds. There seems to be some type of initiative that the Rays are trying to do something on their own, maybe in Hillsborough County. We've got some information as to that. And they want to know just how much Hillsborough County is just going to give them to do this deal. And Hillsborough County has basically said, look, we're not going to operate that way. We're going to be involved in the deal. If you want the $300 million that we have available, we have to be involved in the deal in some way. And that's absolutely the way it should be. This is public money. And you're not just going to write a check to Stu Sternberg and say, here's $300 million, go build your stadium. That's not the way this thing works. They have, obviously, Hillsborough County has a vested interest in what happens to that money. They're not going to make the same mistakes they made in the deal they did with the Bucks and Raymond James Stadium, where they gave them a significant amount of the revenue that's derived from the stadium from other sources like concerts, USF, etc. They got the most sweetheart deal of all time. And so Ken Hagan has said, we're not going to make those same mistakes. So they're not just going to give them a blank check for $300 million and say, build your stadium. I'm sensing that may be what is leading to this. So, unfortunately, we don't get, the public does not get, even though this is going to be public money, we don't get the minutes of these meetings or be able to listen in. And that's okay, because nothing gets, it's very hard to get things done like this in the full view of the public. Right. So politically, the Braves deal got done in a matter of months, and nobody knew it was getting done. And they got, a lot of criticism for not being as transparent as maybe they should. But the deal turned out to be a great deal for Cobb County, who has benefited tremendously, not just only in the revenue that's gone into the schools that was directed right from the stadium, but also all the ancillary, the halo effect, as they call it, of the tax base that is gone up hundreds of millions of dollars because of the new business buildings that have been built. 10 different office buildings have been built since the Braves announced. The Battery area, all those bars and restaurants, the residential around there, all of that is directly attributed to the Braves building the stadium there, but doesn't go into the official economic impact that you'll see some stories written about. But anybody with a brain and a business IQ can look at what's happened in some of these places and say that's a great public-private partnership, and it's the same thing that could be done here in Tampa Bay. We're waiting to see if Todd Bowles is going to appear. Doesn't appear like that's going to happen. But we're going to move on and talk. So we'll get back to the Bucs at 11:15 with Casey Hudson joins us and tells us what happened in practice. By the way, the guys were indoors today, and it was so beautiful and so nice. I mean, it's after yesterday's practice, I was not shocked to see that they moved them indoors because it was so brutally hot yesterday. So they didn't really do much while I was there. There's a lot of individual work that I got to see. Specifically watching a lot of the offensive linemen and their footwork. They were working on that. And one thing you could tell about Robert Hainsey is he's a big man. He's a very big man, and he moves very well. He's very athletic, super smart guy. I think he's going to be a very good player in this league. I don't think there's any question about that. But he's going to go through growing pains like every center does in this league. And I'm not sure that, Tom Brady is here for that in his last year. I think he would much rather play with a veteran center. And that's no knock on Robert Hainsey. It's just the realities of the league. You just don't jump in and become a great player right away unless you're Tristan Wirfs. It's very rare. And Robert Hainsey is not Tristan Wirfs. And by the way, watching Tristan Wirfs, I'm going to put some video up later on. That guy, he's like a dancer. He's 320 pounds. He's such a big man, but he is so light on his feet. It is amazing just to watch some of those guys. I love watching offensive line drills and watching how some of these guys move at 320, 310, 340 pounds. And you can tell who's good and who's not just by their athleticism. And Hainsey's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good player. But again, I don't think and Tom Brady is down for the whole, learning on the job deal. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the man called it last week, get you a top 10 with Tony Finau and made some money. So we will we'll check in with John Gerber and get his picks for this week. And then a little bit later on, we'll check in with Casey Hudson, who was at practice. Stay with us as I work the board. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom